This is Jerry Seib with the Wall Street Journal talking to Austan Golsbee, former chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors in the Obama White House, now a University of Chicago professor, again a University of Chicago professor. Austan, you've been through the State of the Union drill. One of the themes that we're going to hear tonight discussed before, during, and after is income inequality. Politically, one of the questions about that theme is how can the president talk about income inequality without making it sound as if he's engaging in what Republicans would call class warfare?
Yeah, I think it's very important. Thanks for having me back
Sure.
again, Jerry, by the way. I think, in my opinion, the president's got to walk the line to explain to America that he's advocating inequality as a central fact of the economy and a thing to confront, not out of charity, not out of redistribution, but that his view is that's where growth comes from. To get sustainable growth, it's got to be broad-based and shared across industries, across locations, across different people. If it's all concentrated on a few very rich people in New York City, that kind of thing's conducive to bubbles. I think that's my view. That's the way to
describe it as harmful to the broader economy, if that's the state
which
of affairs.
I think it is. You know, I think if you were of the view that all we needed to do to generate growth in this country is cut taxes for high-income people and get rid of regulations, then the onus is on you to explain why the 2000s were not the halcyon days of greatness. We cut taxes at the top as much as they've ever been cut, and that didn't end very well.
Well, let's step back from that picture and look at the broader canvas. You were the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors. What is the state of the economic union right now, and how much better is it getting? How fast?
I think it's definitely getting better. I think it's getting better modestly. I think it feels to me like maybe the market got a little ahead of themselves when we had good jobs numbers for several months, and the Fed has been forecasting, we've turned the corner. I think that felt a little too optimistic to me. So I'd say the state of the economy is clearly recovering, but continuing at a kind of a modest pace.
If you're the president, is that what you say to the nation tonight?
No, I have a PhD in economics. You don't ask me what the message should be. I think they'll probably, it sounds like, be fairly optimistic, and I think it's worth taking a step back and looking over a longer period than a couple of months. It's very clear that over the last 3-4 years, we're a long way improved from where we were back then. If you look at the total distance, it's hard to argue that we haven't improved. We have. So I would anticipate it probably be a little more optimistic. But I sincerely doubt they're going to declare victory.
Because that's politically dangerous and economically dicey.
Yeah, and I think it'd be dicey. Yeah, exactly.
The other two words we're certain to hear tonight are minimum wage. What's the economic argument for the president to call for raising the minimum wage to $10.10 an hour?
Well, this is just for federal contractors.
But he would like it to be economy-wide.
I think the argument is rooted in, if we don't have broad-based income growth for 80+% of the country, and there's not consumer demand, it's very difficult to grow. And we've seen that with everybody in deleveraging mode for multiple years. Not spending. Business then says, well, what's the point of investing? There's not demand. And so that's a tough cycle to get on. I think, you can argue about the minimum wage. Are there even more effective tools? Is the earned income tax credit a more direct way to do it? None of those things are available to the president, obviously. He's tried proposing a series of things, and the Republicans say, no, they don't want to do them. So I think the minimum wage, my read of the evidence has relatively modest employment impacts in a negative way, and overall increases incomes, toward the bottom of the scale.
There's a budget deal, lo and behold, in Washington, where I live, where you used to live. It's going to mean, among other things, that the fiscal debate in Washington is probably not going to be a drag on the economy this year for the first time in a while.
That's right.
The president can celebrate that a little bit tonight. How significant in economic terms is that fact?
I actually think that, though, in political terms, that's a totally insignificant fact. This went from the grand bargain to the baby grand bargain to what's now the embryonic stem cell of a grand bargain. I mean, this thing, there's very little in it politically. However, economically, I actually think it was fairly important, both because it showed that maybe there is a reasonable core on both sides who say we don't want to do this brink of insanity bit where we threaten the economy, and because what you said, the fiscal drag has been 1 to 2 percentage points off the GDP growth rate for several years, and now we're finally not going to have that. So, that might allow growth to get back up a bit.
Not insignificant.
Not insignificant, I don't think.
Austan Golsbee, thanks for taking some time before the speech. We'll be watching it together.
Yes.
Thanks.